In this section, I'll show you how to share content with your team and organization to enhance collaboration, avoid content duplication, and reduce the number of emails you send to your teammates. First, we'll discuss Confluence's deep LDAP integration and intuitive user management scheme. Then we'll cover Confluence's granular permission scheme that covers the global, space, and page levels so that you can share what you want with exactly who you want. Third, I'll demonstrate how Confluence can act as a lightweight repository for files, images, and multimedia through the use of page attachments, allowing you to better share your hard drive without a single email. Then we'll discuss a few features that allow you to share content with teammates instantly, so your team is always up to date on the latest and greatest. Finally, we'll take a look at Confluence as a single-source publishing platform that allows for easy export of your Confluence content into Office and PDF files for further distribution. I've added these time intervals to help you locate the information you care most about in this section. A user directory is a place where you store information about users and groups. Confluence's internal directory stores user and group information in the Confluence database. You can also securely connect to external user directories such as an LDAP, Atlassian Crowd, and Jira as directory managers. Connecting to an LDAP directory server is useful if your users and groups are stored in a corporate directory. You can securely and deeply integrate your LDAP directory with Confluence's internal user directory, allowing for the following connection options. First, Confluence operates as a read-only directory for your local LDAP directory. All user and group management is pre-specified by your local LDAP server and cannot be altered from Confluence. Second, Confluence operates as a read-only directory of your local LDAP directory, but you can create new custom Confluence user groups in Confluence's user directory, allowing you to regroup users of your LDAP directory as they pertain to the Confluence application. Third, a secure and trusted link can be formed between Confluence and your LDAP directory, so when you modify a user, group, or membership in Confluence, the changes will be applied directly to your LDAP directory server. Confluence's user management is incredibly stable and makes it easy to administer users regardless of how large your team or organization is. You must be a system or Confluence administrator to add a new user. You will not be allowed to add a user if you have reached your license's capacity. Once a user is added to Confluence, he or she can be added to a user group. It's easy to create new groups and manage existing ones. I've just added Jens as a new user, and I can quickly add him to the dev team group. Grouping users makes it really easy to manage Confluence's granular permission scheme later on, as my team or organization creates content that's both public and private. Now, let's show you how easy and intuitive it is to manage Confluence's users and groups throughout Confluence's granular permission scheme. The philosophy of a wiki is by default that all content is open to all users. This approach fosters collaboration and communication to produce amazing results. However, there are certain situations when you'd like to keep content private to specific groups or users, restrict editing of certain content, or even make some content open to the general public. Confluence has a very granular permission scheme which lets you easily share your content exactly how you want. There are 3 levels of permissions in Confluence: global, space, and page. Let's start by setting the global permissions. One of the best parts of Confluence is the ability to create an unlimited number of spaces, which are in themselves independently managed wikis. As a Confluence administrator, I can go to the global permissions in the Confluence admin console, where I can fundamentally define how content is created by Confluence users and groups in the unlimited spaces. From here, I can select which users can create global and personal spaces, who can attach files to their user profile, who can update their status, and who has administrator privileges. If I want Confluence to be public-facing so that anyone can view my site, I can enable anonymous access and define it so anyone that visits can view, comment, and export the content to PDF. For example, Atlassian's public instance of Confluence at confluence.atlassian.com has enabled anonymous access at the global level so that anyone can view our documentation, but not edit it. We've then set space-level permissions so that our technical writers can easily maintain, update, and create more technical documentation. Now, let's take a look at space-level permissions. The person who creates a space is automatically the administrator of that space. Let's create a new space for the marketing team. The documentation theme is one of the themes bundled with Confluence. The theme is designed for spaces containing technical documentation, but the left navigation bar with inbuilt table of contents will help users visualize this space's page hierarchy once it's built out. This is a particularly good theme for new users and those unfamiliar with Confluence's content hierarchy and structure. The theme also provides a configurable header and footer, and text styles suited to give the space some nice polish and nice rounded stylings. Since I created this space, I am able to access the Space Admin console, where I can edit the permissions for the space and much more. Here's where the Space Admin can set permissions for Confluence groups and individual users. Let's take a look at the permissions for groups on this page. Right now, the Confluence Users group, which is all registered users in Confluence, has the ability to view, create, and edit content in the space. If you connected your LDAP directory to Confluence, you can search and define the space permissions for the specific group of users. If we look at the permissions for individuals, you can see that I have complete Space Admin permission for the marketing space. The Anonymous section at the bottom of the page is currently inaccessible since we are using this instance of Confluence for an intranet and have not switched the Anonymous access permission on the global level. I can easily provide more permissions to individual users. Let's remove all of the permissions from the Confluence Users group and give permissions to the Dev Team group. Let's add the Dev Team group by clicking on the magnifying glass to search for groups and select it. We can then set the appropriate permissions and save them. Now, only members of the Dev Team have the permission to view the marketing space. We went to the extreme by making this space invisible to most users in our organization. But what we could have also done was allow the Confluence user group the permission to view the space, but restricted the ability to edit or comment. Let's discuss the final level of Confluence permissions, known as page restrictions. The term restrictions is used on this level because if a user has permission on the global and space level to generally view and edit content in a space, then he or she must be restricted to view particular pages by the page's creator. To demonstrate, let's take a look at a page I've created to spec out the Angry Nerd iPad app. I want input on the spec, but I don't want them to have the ability to make changes to the actual page itself, so I'll use page restrictions. At the page level, we can restrict the viewing of the page and also restrict the editing of the page to an individual or group users. Now I only want myself to have the permission to edit this page, so I'll restrict editing of this page and click Me. Additionally, I only want members of the Dev Team group to read this draft, so I'll select Restrict Viewing of this page and click Group and select the Dev Team group. I can do the same for Bill. Notice that I currently have the Edit button in the top right of this page because I've restricted this page so that I'm the only user that can edit it. If we log in as Bill, you'll notice that he does not have the option to edit this page, but he can still view and comment on it. We'll discuss commenting in further detail in the Discuss section of this product demonstration video. By making use of the permissions and security schemes in Confluence, you can share what you want with exactly who you want, making your content as private or public as you like. Traditionally, organizations store documents, graphics, presentations, and other types of files in a shared drive. Unfortunately, shared drives make it difficult to organize content in meaningful ways, manage security for particular files or folders, and determine the most recent version of a document because of a general lack of communication. Worse, each department often has its own shared drive, making it practically impossible for anyone to perform an enterprise-wide search for the files they need. If you're just a small team and don't have a shared network drive, how many times have you emailed an Office file back and forth in order to share and update your team? Confluence houses all kinds of content and is accessible whenever you need it. Easily upload your Microsoft Word files, PDF documents, images, multimedia, or any other files in Confluence. Coupled with Confluence's granular permission scheme, you have control over who can access which content. Let's create a page in the Sales Team space called Sales Materials and Reports. I'm going to attach a deck of PowerPoint slides to this page. I can manually add an attachment by going to the Add menu and selecting Attachment. However, this process is a little slow for my liking. To speed things up, I'll use Confluence's drag and drop feature that makes attaching files an absolute breeze. Simply drag and drop into your Confluence page. Drag and drop works great for a single document, but what about multiple files? Here I have 4 different types of files, and Confluence lets me effortlessly attach them all at one time. Drag and drop works for all browsers that support Google Gears or HTML5. You can also drag and drop files and images straight into the Confluence editor. This makes it particularly easy for me to drag the image straight into any line of the editor, allowing me to create rich content fast. Drag and drop makes it incredibly fast to free your hard drive and share its contents with your entire team, so you'll never have to email another attachment ever again. Drag and drop is the fastest method for attaching files and documents from your hard drive, but what about attaching files that live in the web? Confluence allows you to copy images from across the web and paste them directly into the editor. This feature saves you the time of taking a screenshot and then dragging it from your desktop onto the page. Once the image is in the editor, it's yours to make changes to. Let's turn this Confluence page into a repository for my team's files by listing all of the page's attachments in the body of the page itself by inserting the attachments macro. We can use autocomplete to launch the macro browser and insert the macro. Now we can see the details of all the page's attachments, but if my team continued to use this page as a lightweight repository for all of our Office files, you might wind up with an organized page that looks something like this. All of these files are accessible from any page in Confluence through the use of autocomplete for images and files. You may find that you already have a lot of content stored in Microsoft Word documents and feel like it's trapped in your hard drive. The Office connector allows you to free those documents by importing them into Confluence. To show off the power of this tool, I'm going to import a multi-page and multi-heading Word document. To import it, I just need to go to the Tools menu and select Import Word Document, where I can find the file on my hard drive and then choose where to import it within the current space. The Office connector also allows me to split up the document into multiple Confluence pages based on the headings used, making it easier to maintain and share. Confluence preserves the document's table of contents, and if I click on one of the links, it will take me to the appropriate page where all the images and lists were imported, keeping the document intact. Content migration in Confluence is incredibly easy and fast, so it's no barrier to free your hard drive and share its contents with your team. Let's discuss how Confluence makes it possible to actively share pages and blogs with your teammates without switching applications to your email or IM clients. I've just put the finishing touches on a blog post announcing the new features in the latest release of Angry Nerds. I'd like to share this post with some of the members of the sales team to make sure they're up to speed on what's new with the latest release. Bill from Sales instantly receives an email notification with a contextual note and link to the blog post. He can quickly check out the post and ask any questions by commenting on it. The share button is a really powerful feature that helps you actively notify your teammates without ever having to leave Confluence, so you can create rich content quickly and receive feedback even faster. A feature made popular by Twitter and Facebook, @mentions is more than just a way to stay close with your friends and followers, but a way to unite your teammates in Confluence too. @mentions helps bring your teammates into important conversations occurring in Confluence instantly. Here we have a specification for a feature for the Angry Nerds iPad app. I'm not sure what the release date for Angry Nerds is, but I bet Bill, our product manager, can tell me, so I'll add a comment to the page. Similar to autocomplete, just type an @ symbol to trigger the @mentions dropdown. Confluence immediately suggests other Confluence users that you follow in your network. I'm not following Bill, so I can quickly search for him and then select him in the dropdown. Once I post the comment, Bill will receive an email notification notifying him that he has been mentioned on the iPad app spec page. He can then jump from his email client to Confluence and inform me of the correct release date. With @mentions, you can connect with your teammates faster and bring them into important conversations happening in Confluence. So we've already covered importing content into Confluence using the Office connector, but it's also important to be able to export content for distribution. For example, you may like to give your users the option to download PDF versions of your Confluence pages or even an entire space. You can even export individual pages to Word. I'm going to show you how to export a page to PDF by going to the Tools menu and selecting Export to PDF. If you would like to export to a Word document, select Export to Word. Notice that the table of contents remains intact with live links. Any links within the document itself are also preserved. If you would like to export multiple Confluence pages within a space to a single PDF, visit the Browse menu and select Advanced, then PDF Export. If you have your own corporate styling that you would like to see in the export, you can modify the PDF style sheet with your own custom CSS. We've discussed how easy it is to create and share content with your team. Now let's take some time to discuss how Confluence is so good at making content discoverable, it's like the content finds you.